So Jai Opetaia's next opponent has been confirmed as Brandon Glanton, a guy who's been, campaigning in the cruiserweight division for a while and not really got any marquee wins under his resume. Pretty much all the recognizable names you would see on his resume are his losses. And to me, the only name that I recognize on his resume was a unanimous decision loss to Chris Bidham-Smith. So likelihood is if boxing math is correct, if you're the type of guy who's losing to Chris Bidham-Smith, you likely would lose to Jai Opetaia as well. Of course, granted, they are very different in styles. Jai Opetaia is far more dynamic and punch for punch, probably packs a harder punch than Chris Bidham-Smith, and has more offensive options as well. So it looks like a struggle for Brandon Glanton, but to be fair to Brandon Glanton, he's never been stopped. All of his losses are decisions, but that unanimous decision loss to Chris Bidham-Smith does stick out. And again, in a lot of ways, no shame in losing to Chris Bidham-Smith because he is a good boxer and on his day was a world champion at cruiserweight, so you can't take that away from him. But you think, Jai's the guy at cruiserweight. It's his Dana White's event. It's a Zuffa 4 event. So you think, yeah, Dana White's going to want to put him in there with someone half decent who could put up a bit of a fight. But realistically, we can't have Jai losing on the 4th Zuffa event, right? So that was definitely taken into consideration without a doubt because Brandon Glanton's not a mandatory challenger, I don't believe. So it's a voluntary defense for Jai Opetaia. So, he could have fought anyone and he decided to fight this guy. So we will see, even though Jai Opetaia in his recent fights, granted, he has been getting caught a bit more, right? I think he's got so much confidence right now and he's just wanting to run through these guys. He does get caught. He does get caught coming in and it's to a point where if I'm mentioning it, it should be a bit of a concern. It should be on his radar, right? Now, again, Jai Opetaia doesn't need tactical advice from me. He's an undefeated Ring Magazine cruiserweight champion and a pound for pounder right now, without a doubt. But I think he does get hit with some shots that he doesn't need to get hit with in pursuit of the finish often. In the effort to continue to close the distance, push the pace, he puts himself into the void. And when you're in the pocket, you can get caught. Guys are going to be desperate and they're going to throw something and you could land. And sometimes it does on Jai Opetaia. So that's something to consider. But again, when you're out there stopping guys the way Jai Opetaia is stopping guys, does he really need to take advice from me? Do you know what I'm saying? Does he really need to take advice from me? So that's something to consider there. But Jai Opetaia has been running through everyone at the cruiserweight division. But again, there's still a couple guys he hasn't fought. Zerdo, Mikhailian, who a lot of us thought this was going to be the next fight, and it's not. Zerdo, Mikhailian. If David Benavidez beats Zerdo, then that's an option. Even though I'd still love to see the Zerdo fight, even if Zerdo didn't have a belt, because I think that's a really interesting stylistic fight. Zerdo would be, Jai Opetaia would be, imagine he's the younger man, more athletic, bigger. But Zerdo's a guy who's got a lot of experience in the game and isn't easy to finish and has shown, is at world level at cruiserweight. So that would be a really good fight, even if he loses to David Benavidez. But knowing the way boxing works, if David Benavidez beats Zerdo, Zerdo's never going to fight Jai. But I know how it is because that's just the way the game is. But of course, David Benavidez fight, that would be a dream fight. Jai v David Benavidez would be insane, and I've made a video about that. And if that fight ever gets made, I'll make another video about it for sure because that's a fight I'd love to see. In the meantime, though, we have got Jai Opetaia v Brandon Glanton, and I do think this will be another routine victory for Jai Opetaia. Will it be an early finish? I don't fancy it to be an early finish, honestly, because this guy's never been stopped, and he's never been stopped early as well. So it shows that he's got enough wherewithal to stay in these fights. Granted, he's not fought anyone on the level of Jai Opetaia in terms of being a puncher and an all-round world-caliber boxer. The best guys for is Chris Bidham-Smith, and in my opinion, Jai would beat Chris Bidham-Smith if we're just going purely off boxing math, right? Maybe a middle round KO. Even if it's late, I can see Jai finishing this guy in the 10th or 11th because Jai's got that power. Jai's power carries throughout the fight. Even if he gets a bit tired, even if he slows down a touch, that power's always there. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this fight that's coming in March. Do you think Brandon Glanton could cause a huge upset, or do you think Jai is going to win another routine victory here? Let me know in the comments below. Another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.